Not everyone is interested in your story. That doesn't make you or your story any less valuable. You have to make sure to identify who you're sharing with first so you can guard your heart and show up the most beneficial. What up, Black man? Welcome to the Beneficial Black Man podcast, where we journey together to overcome mediocrity and become beneficial for our community by sharing lessons from the highs and lows of life. I'm your host, Jamal Calpin. I hope y'all are doing well. Black man, I hope you're finding time for an emotional release valve. I hope you're protecting your mental, and I hope that you are continuing to strive to become beneficial by making something for yourself, making something of yourself, and making something for glory and for good. So before we get into the episode and the importance of being careful of who you share your heart with, got to do a mental check-in. So with every mental check-in, we look at the high of the week, the low of the week, and then if we're creating or making anything. So start with the high. The high, the high for me recently has been watching kind of off and on, but there's a show on Hulu. I gotta find it now. Sorry, but it's about the Wu-Tang Clan. Let's see if I can find it and show it to you all real quick. It's called Wu-Tang: An American Saga. Let me see if I can share this. If I get these ads out the way. All right, share my screen real quick so you can see what I'm talking about. I've been watching it on and off for a while now, and the thing is, it came out I think in 2019. But yeah, so yeah, I've been watching this. I'm assuming that it's over now. I don't know, but I'm only in the first season. I'm literally still on the second episode, and it's been out since 2019, and so I'm really far behind. But it's really really good. I really enjoy it. I like the storytelling. I like the actors. I like the way that everything is working out, and I don't know how much of all of it is like true or whatever, because I think RZA is one of the writers, and I think they have the involvement of the rest of the Wu Tang Clan in there to discuss and share their story and the way things panned out. But it's just so far it's just really good. And for me, I like watching like biopics and like documentaries and things like that, especially if it's related to something that I'm interested in. And so yeah, I'm interested in hip hop music, hip hop culture, rap, whatever. And I think it's really interesting, at least for me, that this year is the 50th year celebration of hip hop. So there's been a lot of celebration of hip hop stuff, whether it's the BET Awards and acknowledgments of like the Kennedy Center, and all this kind of stuff. And it's a big deal. It's a big deal. Like I don't know currently of any other what would be considered like a subculture that has had such a worldwide impact over the past 50 years. Shoot, I don't know. Like, because hip hop is more than just music. It's layered and there's different elements to it and whatever. And we don't have to get into that. But I just find it really, really interesting. And again, the high for me has been watching this show. It's really good. I would encourage you to check it out. It's pretty good. The low for me has been so recently we're having air quality issues again because there are more fires happening in Canada. So our air quality here is not good. And so we have to stay inside. And it's really, you know, we've had to stay inside a lot the past like 3 years from a pandemic to bad air. I don't know. Maybe we're just not supposed to go anywhere. We're just supposed to stay inside and learn things or work on ourselves or something. I don't know. I don't know. I mean, I guess we could be taking it that way, or we just sitting around complaining. But anyways, that's been the low that, got to go outside and wear a mask or can't spend too much time outside. And it's summertime now. Like you want to spend time outside, even though it can be kind of hot, but you want to spend time outside, but you can't because the air quality is trash. You can go outside and start wheezing and stuff. It's not good. It's not good. But yeah, so the high Wu Tang, low poor air quality. And have I been creating anything? Sorta, not really. I'm still working on this audiobook that I'm doing. So doing voice work and acting is fun. It's fun to be able to create that. And actually, once I'm done this, I have to get back to that. Uh, so yeah, that's been fun. But all right, so that's my mental check-in. Hopefully you are doing the same. Make sure to go back, whether it's the past 7 days or the past couple of days, to see what's been the high that you've experienced, what's been the low, and checking on yourself. Are you actually making time for an emotional release valve? Are you making time to actually create something in your life? So, as I mentioned earlier in the episode, you have to be careful of who you share stuff with. And I don't mean it in like a secret entrepreneurial kind of way, like people that say, like, don't tell it's the work in secret, don't tell anybody what's going on. No, I'm more specifically talking about like your heart and maybe even some of the revelations and things that you have as you continue to grow, as you continue to become a beneficial black man. Like it can be challenging, but realizing that not everyone is interested in your journey, like they really just want the end result. Or the way that I had it written down in my notes is like they just want the gold from the treasure hunt that you went on. So as we are continuing to do work to become beneficial black men, that requires us to do things internally, that requires us to take care of ourselves physically, that requires us to work on our mental and emotional health. And also I would say it requires us to do like some spiritual internal work. And for some people, they're not interested in all the work that you've done. They're not interested in hearing about how every counseling session went or how many books you read or any of that stuff. What they're more interested in is seeing the finished product or at least seeing how far you've gotten, and even though on a surface level that feels like it sucks, but it's true. Not everybody wants to know the story. You know, um, in some levels of math, you have to show your work, right? I'm thinking like algebra 2, trigonometry. And, in some classes, you have to show how you got to this answer. And for some people, that sucks. Like, they can see the problem, they already know the answer, they can just give you the answer. But there are teachers and classes that require you to say, we need to know how you actually did this computation. We need to know how you came to this conclusion. Some people want to see that. And there are some people in your life who need to see that. Then there are other people in your life that you don't need to share that with because they're not going to handle it well. They're not going to appreciate it. They're not going to honor it. They're, in short, not really going to care, you know? And again, that can be challenging, but you need to know that the work that you are doing is valuable. The work that you are doing, whether it's in secret or whatever, does matter. And it is important. And it is important to some people. And so I think it's important that we are aware of the different types of people in general that we relate to in our life and in our journey. I wrote down 4 different types of people. The first people that we can relate to are people who we work with or people who work with us. And this doesn't, I'm not, when I use that phrase, I'm not talking about just like employees or anything like that, like coworkers. The examples that I gave are like counselors or coaches and maybe even teammates in your life. So you have brothers that are holding you accountable. Those kind of people are looking to see your work. They're looking to see the evidence of your journey. They're interested in seeing the reps that you're putting in, whether it's like physical training or making sure that you're journaling regularly or that you're having an emotional release valve or you're making an effort to read helpful content, watch helpful content. Like you're putting in the time and the effort and the hours. And they want to see that work because they want to continue to encourage you and help you to grow. They want to see that work. So you have people who are working with you. And I mentioned like counselors, therapists, coaches, or again, brothers who are checking in on you, who are accountable to you, saying like, yo, what's going on? Are you doing your mental check-ins? What's your highs and your lows like? Are you creating stuff? Are you exercising? Are you taking care of yourself? They want to know. They want to see the work. Then you have people who learn from you. And that could be like your children. It can be mentees. If you're a mentor, you're mentoring somebody younger to you, like a younger brother or whatever. People that you're training, you know, those kind of people, they do want to see your work. You might have to package it in a certain way, but they're interested in learning from your story. They're interested in gaining from your knowledge and from your wisdom and from your understanding the things that you've developed over time. I know for me, as I continue to grow up and as I matured as a man, I really appreciated talking to my father and older brothers in my life and hearing how they work through stuff. They showed me their work, you know. Of course, they gave me the nugget of what they wanted to share with me, that wisdom, but they also shared with me how they got to where they got to. I did this, I did A, B, and C, whatever, whatever. And I was able to learn and benefit from that. And so it's important that you do the same in your life, whether you have children or whether you have younger brothers or whoever that you're kind of like mentoring in your life, individuals that you can pour into, they're interested. They want to know. And very often they may even ask you, like, how'd you do this? How'd you get here? What'd you do? And it's not just like, oh, I just want to know the answer, but I want to know the processing too. Because for them, that helps them to work through their own process and their own computation, how they figure out how to manage and maneuver through their own problems. So again, your story matters, your work matters. You need to take note of that stuff, remember that stuff. Sometimes people don't even remember, like, you accomplished a problem, you made it out of a difficult situation, or you've had some growth, but we don't keep record of it. We don't pay attention to it because we don't think it's important, but it is. You need to keep record of this stuff. You need to keep memory of this stuff because it will be something beneficial that you can pass down or share with somebody else. Next group of people are people who just benefit or enjoy the fruit of your labor. Now, these kind of people, they're not really interested in the work that you do. They're not really interested in your processes of doing stuff. And the examples that I gave are like employers of a job or customers or even certain relationships. Sometimes people they just want you to show up. They just want you to do what's asked of you. And that's okay. And I think it's important to understand that and have a clear expectation so you one can guard your heart because you don't want to be excited about here's you're trying to present something to your boss or to a customer or whatever, and you're like, hey, I just did all of this work creating this product for you. Like, I just made all of these origami cranes and I'm going to send them to you. Sometimes they don't want to know that. They just like, I just want the origami cranes. I don't want to know how many counseling sessions you went to. I just want to know that you're healthier so that you can be kinder to me. I don't want to know how much time you spend in the gym. I don't need to know all the exercises that you do. I don't need to know all that. I just want to know that you're healthier. Oh, you're stronger. You're in better shape. Got it. Like, there are some people like that. And that doesn't mean that they're mean or that they actually don't care about you. It's just for them, they may have an overarching picture, of what they're looking for. And sometimes when you're looking at things from 1,000 or 5,000 feet in the air, you don't need to know or understand the minutia. You don't need to know all the details. All you need to do is show them, hey, this is the finished product. This is the gold. This is the diamond that I got from the coal or whatever. And they're happy with that. And when you know that, that means you can guard yourself. That means you can be like, okay, all this stuff that I've done, I'm going to put it to the side. I don't need to necessarily be vulnerable about this. But for this particular relationship and this particular situation, here, I'm going to present you this fruit and we're going to keep it pushing. And that's good. That's helpful. It helps you to serve who you need to serve. And it also, in my opinion, it helps you to not put yourself in a position where you can get hurt. Because sometimes, that's disappointing. You want to share or even overshare about your experience, about your work, about the things that you've accomplished. And then people don't appreciate it. And you don't want to keep doing that to yourself. You don't want to keep putting your heart out there and people don't care. But you can find people who actually care because there are people who are really interested. Like I mentioned, you can have counselors, therapists, coaches, teammates, accountability partners or brothers who are really interested. You have people like those you may be mentoring, young children or people that look up to you. They might be interested in those things. But in regards to like using these as examples, employers or customers you're just immediately serving, excuse me, they just want the finished product, And again, that's okay. you just understand that when you acknowledge that and you see that, you can just understand that, like, okay, this is how I need to show up here so I can best serve them. This is how I'm going to show up here with this relationship so I can best serve them. And with all of those different relationships, you can know how to manage yourself, how to guard yourself, how to pick and choose when to be vulnerable, when to be transparent, you know? Because we need to do that too. That's important in healthy communication and healthy relationship. And even with our own personal development, it's important that we do what's best for us and we do what's best for the good that we're trying to do for other people. And then the last group, I think this one may be a little bit obvious and it can take some work sometimes to identify it. But then there are people who just don't mean you any good. People who really just want to harm you, people who want to take advantage of you, people who deceive you and are malignant towards you. They're just no good. In that situation, you definitely don't share anything. You definitely don't share anything. You guard your heart from people who really just want to harm you. Like in the scripture, it talks about presenting your pearls before swine, and the rest of the scripture talks about when you do that, you present these wonderful things before swine. Well, they reject it and they turn and attack you. You want to be careful not to do that. To not present your heart, to present your work, to overshare to people who are just going to turn around and abuse you and hurt you. And you have to be careful of that. Yeah, we all have to be careful of that, of who we're sharing to. And so we have to acknowledge what each person is looking for. So you have somebody that you're working with, somebody that is helping you on your journey, or somebody that's interested in your growth. You have counselors, therapists, coaches, teammates. You have people who want to learn from you. It can be your children or people that you're mentoring. Then you have people who just want to benefit from you. And it doesn't have to be in a sleazy, slimy way, but it can be your employers. It can be certain relationships. People just want you to show up and do what you do. They don't need to know all the things that you did to do it. They just want you to show up. And then, of course, you have people who mean you ill. They really just don't want to benefit you. They really just don't want to benefit you. So, acknowledge what each person is looking for so that you don't waste your life treasures, which is your time, your resources, and your energy, giving to the wrong, like investing in the wrong thing or the wrong person. Like, we need to do that. We have to take responsibility as men and as beneficial Black men to know how to navigate that and how to make the right decisions for ourselves and for the benefit of other people. You know, and that's something that I've been learning. It's something that I'm trying to get better at each and every day, so that I have the right expectations and so that I actually serve people the best way. Because sometimes, say you're answering a question, and this has happened to me sometimes in my marriage. My wife wants an answer from me, and I think at that time, in answering the question, I give the whole why behind, and these are my thoughts, and da 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 whatever. In that moment, she's just like, "Are we having tacos or are we having pizza for dinner? I don't need to know all the other stuff. Not right now. I'm hungry. Just tell me, are we having tacos or are we having pizza?" And in that moment, I might feel away because it's like, "Oh snap! I mean, I'm gonna give you the answer, but I thought it was." You just have to be mindful of it. There's no ill intent there. It's just you have to be aware of what's being asked of you in that moment. That way you can better serve them. I don't want to waste no time. She's hungry. Let's go get tacos. Like, you just hurry up and get that done to serve in that situation. And there will be other times where my wife wants to know everything, all the details, and it's the same way with a lot of other relationships. Sometimes people just want to know A, B, and C. Other times people want to know the whole alphabet. And then all that in between stuff. They want to know that. But if you aren't taking the time to be aware of that and acknowledging that, and knowing that there are certain people who want to work with you, there are certain people who want to learn from you, there are certain people who just want the benefits from you, and of course, there are people who just want to harm you. If you are not making the effort to see that, protect yourself, and to use wisdom to how you want to share and show up for those people, you can put yourself in a bad situation. So acknowledge what each person is looking for so that you don't waste your life treasures giving the wrong thing to the wrong person. Again, that's something that I'm learning, and hopefully it will be beneficial to you. If you like this video, please like, hit the like button, share, subscribe, all that stuff. I would also encourage you to check out Black Man, encourage another video that I have created called Black Man, You Matter. It's called Black Man, You Matter. And I will put something somewhere that you can see it so that you can click on it. But yeah, Black Man, you're called for more than mediocre living. Yeah, excuse me. Sorry. I I'm having a hard time talking sometimes, most basic things. But anyways, Black Man, you're called for more than mediocre living. You're here for a purpose, to live for glory and for good. Protect your mental, make time for an emotional release valve, and keep striving to become beneficial. I believe in you. I believe in you. Go make something for yourself, of yourself, and for glory and for good. Stay safe out there. Talk to y'all later. Peace.